Hello, today is Wednesday, September the 19th, and we're going to look today and examine the chart of Elizabeth Warren. I'd also like to do an astrological reading on not only looking at her chart, but also draw a few tarot cards just to see what is the general energy surrounding her climb to the top as far as winning the presidential nomination for the Democratic Party. So when I look at a chart, obviously we're going to look first at the rising sign. What is that ascendant? What is that personality, that persona that is being shown to the world, that is being exhibited in front of everyone? That's kind of the energy that she emanates. And as we discussed before, the rising sign is very similar to our soul, and it is how we incarnate as a rising sign, staying the same with the sun sign, choosing different sun sign, different life experiences throughout many thousands of expressions of being. Elizabeth Warren's ascendant is Libra. Now, Libra is the ascendant of one who came here at a soul level to bring a sense of justice to the earth, to make things right, to bring things back into balance and harmony. So that's why you see the figure of the woman holding the scales, balancing the scales. And Libras often have to personally work on their own sense of balance and harmony. It's not a given. But as an ascendant, and also in her chart, she has the magnetic, charismatic Neptune right on that ascendant. And some of the greatest, most enticing leaders, or leaders that we've sort of softened towards, no matter what else they've been out there doing, often have had that Neptunian mysterious cloud of energy emanating around them that draws us to them, and we don't know why. It's like a magnetism. With Elizabeth, her Neptune is at 12 degrees Libra, and her ascendant is at 17 degrees, so it's just a few degrees off. And for example, Bill Clinton had Neptune near the ascendant, and he was one that, even if one didn't always feel a strong feeling of trust for him or a sense of him being honest, there was some kind of way that we were magnetically drawn to him. And they said that when he would walk in a room, that he just literally commanded the room just by his sheer presence. Elizabeth, being a Cancer, is a different sort of being. She has her sun in Cancer right at 1 degree. So she's just a baby Cancer there, conjuncting Uranus. So Uranus is right on top of her sun, giving her a totally different energy than the normal Cancer. And if you think about it, when you look at Elizabeth, there's a lot of kinetic energy around her, which is very symbolic of Sun conjunct Uranus people. They're more like an Aquarius. They have this sort of electrical, sparky energy coming off them, and they never seem to run out of energy, and they always seem to be a little bit jerky in their movements, and but lots of bundles of energy exuding, and they usually are people who are ahead of their time. I call them, when they're young, the children of the future, because they see into the future what is yet to come and what needs to be. So they have a great capacity for foresight and for bringing through new approaches, new ideas, new technologies, new methods of expressing, and she having it in her ninth house of law and of the higher mind and of different nationalities, religions, countries. This is somebody with the Sun conjunct Uranus that's not afraid to break the rules. Now, you may look at her initially and think that she's a conventional woman. She has sort of the school teacher look about her, but if you look at her a little longer, you see that she's her own being. She's definitely somebody that's going to break the structures that are in place. Sun conjunct Uranus. They are the ones that come along and take establishment and crack it wide open and bring something new in its place. And it's a timely thing because they are capable to see into the future and feel where things are moving, be it in a company, a university, a family, or a government. Those are the people that foresee things before they happen, try to get in and rectify them ahead of time. The other thing that one sees here is having that Sun conjunct Uranus up in the ninth house should be an incredible person to deal with all types of nationalities, religions, creeds, colors. Should be a great international negotiator. Her Cancer would give her the intuitive capability to communicate with others, and her Sun conjunct Uranus, she would be able to crack through the barriers that are separating us as a country from another mentality and be able to sort of see all mentalities at once, and have had an interest to study law and to study the laws of the country, and yet to also see where those laws need to be revised or improvisation is needed. So she's got a lot of original thinking. And often Sun conjunct Uranus, especially 1 degree off like that, it's actually not even 1 degree, it's about 1/4 of a degree off. Those people are usually geniuses. They usually have a genius mind, and they definitely can think outside the box. So they're very adaptable to new circumstances because they're quick on the uptake and quick to see, okay, you always hear her saying, I've got a plan. Well, they are solution-oriented people. The other fantastic thing in her chart is her Mercury in Gemini in a natural place for conversing, for reaching the public, conjunct Mars by 1 degree. So there's a huge Martian fighter force behind the communication skills. The Mars in Gemini can sometimes overtalk. But because this Mercury conjunct Mars is sitting in the 8th house of Scorpio, it has a lot more depth than a typical Gemini Mercury or Mars. It brings a lot more passion, a lot more desire to serve a cause, a lot more capability to intuit where other people are before coming forth with the hammer. And actually the Mercury conjunct Mars aligned with the Cancer is pretty, I'm just looking at a chart here when I look down, it can be a light touch. So it's like delivering the blow or delivering the message or delivering the shift without being heavy-handed. The other thing that is in that 8th house sitting there is her Moon in Taurus. Moon in Taurus is beautiful placement for the Moon. It's the deepest, highest, exalted placement of Taurus Moon. It rules sort of a solid, grounded quality. So it takes that Gemini and it brings her emotional nature into a very grounded, practical way to attain her genius mind, Sun conjunct Uranus ideas. She can contain them, and it's extraordinarily nurturing. This is probably why you see her staying 4 hours after she's spoken and doing selfies with everybody, because she's kind of mother to everybody. She has a sense of that nurturance and that deep emotional capability to bond with people. So Cancer Sun, Moon in Taurus, Venus in Cancer, the love nature in Cancer. This is an extraordinarily nurturing, caring woman. It's not an act that she cares about everybody. And I think that's what people are picking up on her. There's something clean about her energy. There's something slowly, first when you see her, you see all this kinetic energy and this kind of strangeness. But then as you walk the road with her for a while, you start to feel a trust in her, because there's no duplicity in the chart. The Mercury conjunct Mars it's shooting things out fast, but the Moon in Taurus is keeping her in a solid place of authenticity. She's not all over the board. People trust her. And that Moon in the 8th house has a great understanding of Scorpio issues like birth, death, other people's money, the banking systems. It gives her a profound capability to be a troubleshooter. Any kind of Scorpio overlay in a chart gives a great capability to walk into extraordinarily difficult situations and get right to the heart of the matter and find solutions and eliminate what's not working anymore. They're very, very good at that. The other thing that is interesting in her chart, you've heard me talk before about the North Node being in where the soul is wishing most to express in this lifetime. Her North Node is in Aries, so her South Node is in Libra. So for a long time in her life, she formed partnerships and individual relationships with people and didn't mind to be behind the scenes more. As she's moved into her North Node, she's now out there more capable to be the warrior of what she believes in and to be the leader. North Node and Aries, people are learning to stand in their own individuality and to bring forth their own ideas and to not be afraid to express what they think and to lead others. But leading was not something as a younger woman that came easily to her. It's something she's had to step into and learn, which is kind of reassuring, because it's somebody then that is not coming forth with a lot of ego. And if you watch her on the stage with the other Democratic candidates, you'll see her come forth with that kinetic energy and her new ideas and stand by what she believes in. But also, she has no problem to stand there very quietly for an hour and say nothing and listen. So she has great, with that Mercury conjunct Mars in the 8th house of Scorpio. Scorpio is very good at becoming also the observer, the listener. So the Mercury Mars in Gemini is toned down a lot and deepened a lot. The other thing is she has her Saturn in Virgo. I find that a lot of people that have Saturn in Virgo, their karma here is, it's in the house of humanitarian activities. So the karmic mission here was for self-purification, for healing, self-healing and that of others, and to be here for, as a humanitarian. She came here to take on that role. The final thing that I'd like to discuss about Elizabeth is the fact that she has Jupiter in Aquarius in the 4th house. So her Jupiter is, a lot of presidents have had this Aquarian overlay. I mean, she's got that Sun conjunct Uranus, which makes her a lot more like an Aquarius. We've had a lot of Aquarian presidents. That Jupiter in Aquarius gives her a great gift from God with a lot of different types of people. It gives her a great gift with crowds. And I think what you're going to see is, as time goes by, the crowds around her get larger and larger and larger. She also, to end here with Elizabeth, and tomorrow or another day, I'm going to really go into her chart with the election day chart and her chart with the United States chart. But one thing I did want to mention about the United States chart is the Sun is conjunct Jupiter, is conjunct Venus in Cancer, as is Mercury in Cancer. Elizabeth has got all those Cancer planets. So the United States Jupiter is actually right on her Sun conjunct Uranus. So it gives her a broadening, an opening, a gift. It's like the country will gift her. And being of the same sign, there's a synergy with the country that comes through her Sun, Uranus, Venus, that is very linked to the countries, Sun, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury. So she, all this Cancer, this empathy, this warmth, this kindness. And America has Mars in Gemini, as does Elizabeth. So look at all those energies that are marrying together happily. And the final thing is, America has its moon, its feminine subconscious nature in Aquarius. And there's Elizabeth with her Jupiter in Aquarius. And the moon, it means the people in a chart of a nation. Those are the people. So along comes Elizabeth with her Jupiter in Aquarius right on the moon, on the people. So she's a benevolent force for this country. Now, I'm going to also look at other charts, and we're going to see good and bad in those other charts that will relate to our country and to the election. But I would say with Elizabeth, the other thing that it has is Uranus in Gemini right on her Mars. So there's an electrical connection between the Uranus of the United States at 8 degrees Gemini and Elizabeth's Mars at 9 degrees Gemini. So there's a wonderful synergy taking place all through this chart. It's like a good marriage chart. You do well marrying and marrying up together to solve problems together. It's a very fortuitous situation for Elizabeth. What we would still have to look at, though, is where does this chart fit in on November 3rd? And is it a chart that is rising toward victory, which we'll take a look at on another day. Altogether, I really like her chart. I think it's a really, really compassionate, kind, empathic, brilliant chart. And a chart that I feel trust when I look at her chart. I feel safe, and I feel that she would look after others. And it's no wonder with the Cancer at the very midheaven of her chart, which is how the nation sees her, is by her midheaven. And her Venus is right up there. It's no wonder that she has this huge emphasis on healthcare and a great capability to accomplish that. Remember to like the video, to join my YouTube page, and if you're interested in a personal reading, please contact me at angelicmercy44@gmail.com. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's video. God bless you, and may divine love and divine mercy ever expand within your being.